welcome, guys. Another fun episode here. We're really excited to have Ryan Depaulo on. Everyone's talking about him because he is having the week of his life, crushing the WSOP with a bracelet already, another couple deep runs after that. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here because of this. I don't know, whatever. I'm likely to be whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is amazing. I'm all over the place. I'm going to try to choose my words calmly and carefully this episode and be like podcast ready.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you what your day is like since you had to drive to a Whole Foods parking lot to win your bracelet. I'm assuming you don't live in New Jersey. Where do you live and what do you do to play these events?
Yeah. So I live in Manhattan, which is like I'm 2.5 miles from New Jersey. So theoretically I could just run a cord there and just play here, but that's not, we don't live in a science fiction movie. But anyway, so I've been piecing together days of the worst possible situations to play in. I played on my phone by plan a couple of times in the car, which is even ghettoer. It's horrible. It's it's not even, I couldn't even get great vlog footage because the camera I brought is can't zoom in on the phone. It was just so horrible. Then a couple of days were not as bad. I played I stayed in Hoboken for one night with my girlfriend, but I'm releasing a vlog of that night before the win, but it thought I was in New York. So I got booted off their Wi-Fi a couple times. Then I played a couple nights at my girlfriend's brother's house and I busted one of the events, reading her nieces a bedtime story, literally with my laptop on my lap. All have been horrible settings. And then, so actually the car was probably the best setting I had played up until that point, honestly, because the Wi-Fi was more stable than it had been. And there weren't children crawling on me and I was alone and focused, but it's insane. And then, so now I'm going to a hotel, the last couple of caches or whatever. I was in a friend's Airbnb, then a hotel, not tonight and tomorrow, actual hotel. I'm going to try to stream the day we're recording this.
Why don't you move to New Jersey? New York's so expensive anyways.
Yeah, we're out as soon as because my girlfriend can walk to work or whatever here, and she's a nurse and in school. And before, very recently, I was still working on Broadway in a theater, and so but it's so messed up.
You're an actor?
No, I worked. I am an actor, sort of. I went to the movie Fame is about my high school. I went for acting.
Yeah.
I should have been. No, I am a big deal. No, I'm joking. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not. Oh God, what is these answers? I got to do the podcast ready, concise words. Okay, hold on. I worked in a box office on Broadway. It's a union job. It was it's a good job, but my dad's a Brooklyn union guy, and so it's I stood on the stood on the shoulders of my union thug ancestors, basically, and had a good job. But I haven't not needed to work there until very recently, maybe 6 months ago. YouTube money and sponsorship, working with America's Card Room and stuff, has been enough. And I don't even think of poker money in that. I try not to because I don't know if I ever wanted to plan on being partially pro at all, because it just looked like a unhappy life on its own, but that. So
yeah, Marle and I talk about that a lot, that basically happiness in poker, if poker's the only thing that you're doing, you kind of become a little bit boring. If you're good, if you're studying a lot and you're trying to be the best you can be, you're probably going to be pretty boring in the rest of your life because you have to focus so much and you have to do so much just sitting by yourself and going through sims and stuff. But I think we've figured it out that we are pretty happy doing other stuff too. And I feel I don't know, you have another aspect. Your win has a really cool aspect to it, whereas so many people were sweating with you and so many of your fans were so excited to see you win. And if you were just some boring dude who sits in your house and studies all day, yeah, you win your bracelet and it feels good, I'm sure, but you actually had just such a cooler overall experience based on the fact that you do so many other things and you aren't just a poker player.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I also so I didn't answer the last question. No, we are moving to Jersey as soon as this lease is up, though, by the way. But yeah, I always thought that it's only recently that I'm meeting more people in the poker world that I see that there are many more happy versions of like a professional poker life, where like what you guys are doing or what what I'm doing on the side, or even just like having a stable. Like I don't know nearly enough poker, have nearly enough capital to ever do that, but something where you're at least helping other people's lives or creating something in some way instead of only playing a zero-sum game for, like for yourself. Not that that's like evil or not, I'm not judging it, just that I couldn't only do that out for myself. And you could just look around, like any casual person sees footage, like my family who know nothing of poker, see the footage of the poker rooms, shots that I shouldn't be taking and got banned from Borgata for taking, but whatever, panning shots of the sea of like Borgata scum. They're just like, wow, everybody looks miserable, and then I'll like look around the table and be like, how many dudes have wedding rings on? And it's like, not that many, like, I don't know. But then that said, there's like, that said, it's the funnest stuff ever. And also I've lived the dream, to answer what you said or respond to what you said, that it's crazy. Like a year ago, I thought that was it. Like I'm just like an amateur dude who's like loves poker. I shouldn't say likes. I love poker. Who's like tried to get involved in it. And then I parlayed like finishing third in the Colossus last year. I've like hired a coach, but I don't even want to call it hired because he was a friend that we built a relationship. And then now Rob Kuhn, busting balls, who's like leader of the leaderboard.
He's crushing, yeah.
And he's happily for me using me as a pawn in his upcoming poker coaching site, where he wants to be like, look, I made Ryan Depaulo better too. Mm-hmm. And so he's been coaching me lately too. But anyway, I don't know. It's a dream. Like, whatever.
So, I mean, you're doing so much right now, right? Your YouTube channel is growing, your stream is growing, your poker game is going. What do you most like doing? Like, where's your focus really?
Well, I most like making video, like YouTube videos, I would say.
Yeah.
Although I don't, as you probably can relate, the amount of work they take is more than, it's not more than worth it, because it's been amazing. Like all of this stuff is basically from that, and it's the most fulfilling to like do any planning of any jokes or creating anything. But in practice, even though I aspire to spend most time doing that, I've been playing so much poker lately, and I think it's been a little out of whack. Like I'd like to be more in the pie chart of what I do is more videos and a little bit less poker. But it's working out so far this summer, so whatever.
Yeah, that's what happens when you start winning. When you start, like, oh man, like
yeah, or losing. Yeah, or losing, and then I'm like doing a spin to get in on America's Card Room, which is like little slot machines, and then my Shark Scope looks like I'm way worse than I am for America's Card Room, so I like deactivated it because I've spun into so many events that I'm drawing dead in the field to begin with, like a slot machine. There's many sides to the Degen coin, but it works. Everything just works out if you just overfire. I actually don't want to put this message out there, but everything works out and just blast over your head, guys.
But I mean, you do play casino games and stuff. So how does that fit into the picture?
Yeah, it's like, so like the character, I guess, or whatever, the channel is Degenerate Gambler. And it's like, if I were really a degenerate, I probably couldn't sustain it. Like I joke that it'd be like having a channel like Ryan Depaulo Crack Addict or something, where it's like, I probably would only have one video up in the channel if I were to be a crack addict. So like after a couple of videos, I was like, yo, I got to not be just totally punting all the time. But let's be real. I mean, the EV of playing all these, I played in a car and I was getting booted off the Wi-Fi every hour. Like I'm not that responsible. I'm trying to be somewhat responsible, but I still got the degen in me-ish. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we all have a little bit of degen. I wanted to tell you that I was watching some of your older videos, and your style from the get-go reminds me a lot of Gus Johnson. Do you know him?
I don't.
He's a YouTuber. You should look. He just does comedy videos, but he's hilarious.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, I do. Sure, yeah.
And he's just very you remind me of him because you don't get preoccupied with like the little things, and you just do funny things and you just film them however they come out, and then that's it. And you get such great response because it is so much more about, I think, the quality of the content and not so much about the production and other things that people focus on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, thanks. He's a great compare. I appreciate that. He's the man. He's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
wait. I wanted to ask you guys. Do you what the hell was I going to ask? How's your Jamie? How's your World Series going? Real quick. Sorry to just like hijack this interview and be like, yo, let me flip it on YouTube right now.
Dude, listen to me. It's your interview. It's nice to hear from someone who's winning because I'm in a group where we study a lot. Like I'm taking poker way more seriously than I have in the past. And everyone is sad. Like we're going through and we're like, has anyone have a sweat? We like all will put in the chat, it'll say red zone. That's when anyone's like a couple tables in and we all go sweat the person. And it has been fucking crickets. There's nothing going on. So I feel like the people I talk to right now are just doing poorly and I'm not doing great. And I'm like, man, it's nice. Like I want you to hijack the interview and like be happy and let me know what it feels like to actually win something. Cause I feel like I haven't won something in 500 years. So yeah, World Series is not going great. I'm actually skipping today to go pick up a puppy at a shelter. That's how far I've gotten down this, like, I'm like, I need to do something in my life that will like make me happy. And so now I'm just going to adopt a bunch of animals until the pain goes away.
That's great. Hopefully you don't do cats because I heard you could get that disease that'll make you crazy, right? Or whatever. But
Marley has that. Yeah. She now just collects a bunch of cats.
Marley has that. But so that's great. That's what we were talking about, like the balance. You're like, yo, too much poker. It's like, I gotta go get some animals, whatever it is. Like, go do something else. I get it, but it's a turbo. Now's the chance. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
No,
I would be so tilted.
Days off are good. I really think that's like I've been in this for so long, and that is one thing I'm finally able to do. I used to love poker too much to take the day off, and I'd have that FOMO. Like, I know later I'll probably watch the coverage and be like, man, this could have been the one where I run really good and I play really good and I like final table this one. So what? There's a tournament tomorrow. There's a tournament the next day. Like, go have a life and just like let poker fit into your life instead of the other way around where you're like, there's a turbo, the day's canceled, that dog can sit at a shelter another day. I'm not doing that.
I say that like, I say what you say to myself all the time. Like, I want to build my life that way. And then I often don't. I'm just like my girlfriend's like, wait, what? You're playing again every night? I'm like, no, it's a special stuff. Like she literally, I cry wolf so much that she didn't really even understand that it was the World Series until recently, because there's so often that unintentionally, I'm like, no, it's this really big event. I got to play. It's Corona for like 2 months. I'm like losing. And I'm like, yo, it's quarantine. Now's the time. It's late right now.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Jeff Boski. You guys are like BFFs. How did that come to be?
Through America's Card Room. Well, when I was new, I was just like spamming comments on every poker vlog and being like, yo, pay attention. Like, look at me.
Not
basically.
Mine. Huh? Not mine.
Well, I think I was already past the spam point at that point, perhaps. Or I was very jealous of your fast success at the time. Like the first time I watched one of your videos, I was like, oh, she's funny, man. I wanted to like hate, like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's actually a good video. Damn it. I wanted to, not really, but, you know, like, but I don't really get like that a lot. I don't know what maybe I'm anti-woman deep down in my disgusting sick soul or something, perhaps. Maybe I am just, you were the funny one too or something. And I was like, yo, I want to be the funny one. What the hell is this stuff? I don't got to worry about the poke. He's not as funny as he thinks. This is no sweat. And then there's like Marley on the block. Anyway, so, so Jeff, I met through when America's Card Room, I started working with them. I had been spamming his thing a lot and we talked a little and I was like, yo, people are talking about all this morality stuff about ACR. What are your thoughts? How did you come to working with them? And then it was like, yo, if they have enough, I would do anything. I'm joking. Did not say that. He said all these whatever. And then we talked and then I went to Costa Rica and then he's so much different than his like, public persona or whatever that you wouldn't expect. How sweet he was to me my first time in Costa Rica. He was so like nice and helpful, but we're very different people. It's funny that we're friends.
You gotta ask Boski if he and I have a beef, because I don't think we have a beef because I didn't know him. I didn't know him. Someone tweeted something to him and I was like, that's weird. Did that get deleted? Because I can't see it. And I look at the tweet and I go to his profile and it says I'm blocked. And I was like, I don't know who you are. This is like 2 years ago. I was like, I don't know who this dude is, but he just like blocked me. I never talked to him. And then recently someone was posting things about dogs. So of course I go into that thread and I try to see, and I'm unblocked. And I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, I don't know if we had a beef I didn't know about, because that has happened before where I'll say something on Twitter and not realize someone's just like, F this girl, blocked, right? And I find out later this person's like super offended. But he seems like not an offendable person. So I want to know
No,
how to get to the bottom of
he
this.
bans people. It's like sort of an argument we have. Like he was a mod on my Twitch channel and he was just like banning people. I was like, I banned him for banning people on my channel. And he's like, oh, you want to create this toxic environment? I was like, not really, but like, yo, I'll find out. I don't know what he has. A
I'm
lot
on
of
block
beefs
now.
that I
I'm
don't know
like,
about.
I think we bonded somehow over like dogs because he's a big dog person. I'm not sure. If there was a beef, it started and ended without my knowledge.
Your dog love got you out of the doghouse. Ha ha.
Yeah.
But no, he what was I gonna say? He was hitting me up with some other beef going on now that he's having, and I was like, yo, just like be easy, like chill for. But I don't know. It's funny when people have fights with themselves and you don't know. Also, you're the Twitter poker personality of 2019. Doesn't he know what? How is he going to be out of the loop so much to block you? That would have to be some serious beef to have to go that far.
Twitter is funny like that though, because I don't know. Pretty
Twitter
much
is cancer, but
Twitter is cancer. But dude, I just can't.
You own
I
it.
can't put it away. I can't put it away.
Cancer. The fucking YouTube comments and the Twitch chat is like just the black plague, because it's like I get why like Jeff might be a little bit like jaded from just like being on YouTube for so long and just having to deal like with these fucking trolls. And like I don't read my YouTube comments really, and my last video I posted for some reason has like almost all positive comments and like 90% up. I usually get a solid like 40% down, but like this last one was good, so I read those. But I just can't. I can't, because it's just bad for the soul.
Well, I was surprised you still read them. Like I just don't read them. So I'm like, I would rather consume some other content. Like I would rather watch your vlog, Ryan, than read a comment about mine. And then it's bad though, because then every once in a while in between the bullshit, there's going to be some constructive criticism that I kind of want to hear. But thankfully, Marle reads the comments and she's like, hey, someone said we say like way too much. I'm like, shit, we do. Random things that you can do to help is in there. And Marle is like the filter. I'm like, I just don't even go in there. I think YouTube comments are a cesspool. I think people are at their like peak meanest because they're anonymous. And I just don't get it. I'm like, I don't watch YouTube videos of people I hate, because why would you do that and spend your like precious time on that? But some people do, and they just tell you that you suck every time.
Yeah. So I'm sure okay. So let me rephrase this. I despise like identity politics, always starting an argument, but I know for sure that we probably all have different experiences because I believe you guys identify as female, right?
Yes.
I don't really ask that. I would have, I just assume. And then if I offend, I'm sorry. But anyway, for sure, you guys have a different experience. Because being women in the poker world or whatever, just being women at all. I like my girlfriend and I had this discussion where she would be like, I'm editing my vlog and she's like, take that shot out. I don't look good. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's so selfish of you. And then she's like, that's selfish of you. You don't understand. Look at all the comments. They're like half about my body or something irrelevant to what's going on in the vlog or scene. And I'm like, oh, damn. And then even thinking about it more, like I was making jokes about Vanessa Kate on my stream recently, like being like, oh, she's the most trash like Twitch streamer. But I was just like talking shit like I would anyone basically. And then I messaged her. I was like, yo, just so you know, I'm like talking shit. And she's like, yeah, well, be careful. You know, it's a little harder to be a female in the poker world. And I was like, yeah. But yeah, no, I think that I've gotten way less hate than I ever expected. And I think when, you know, I'm beginning my transition so I can play ladies events. And I think that if and when I become female finally, I'm going to get as much hate as you guys. Cause I really think that's obviously a big part of it, or it's like a different, wouldn't that be sick though? Like I want to do that one day. Maybe if I really wanted to be a dick, I've debated, I'm nowhere near this level of trying to be an ass, but, like being like, you know what, if WSOP somehow screwed me on some decision or something, right? I'd be like, I'm going to do a lawsuit. I'm going to say I'm transgender and try to enter a ladies event and pay 1/10 of the male entry and see if they make a thing of it. And let's go to court. Even though I hate SJWs, I'd be like, let's get everyone on board. Yo, let's go. But luckily none of that needs to happen. Anyway, where am I going? I'm sorry.
Sean Deeb tried to do that before they made the 10K, 1K buy-in. He dressed up like a woman and played. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was done already. And what did
you would regret it so much, because I think in theory people are like, yeah, I'm gonna like, this isn't fair and I'm gonna play this thing or whatever. and then you sit down and you realize you're gonna bust someone's grandma in like the one live tournament she plays all year, and you're gonna feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I don't actually want to play. But this is the backup plan to like get a lawsuit against WSOP for just personal gain and to just be a dick. No part of it is to like be like, oh, it's unfair. Like it's what I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It should be as it is. Like it's to almost like reflect back.
I don't know. I mean, I have mixed feelings about the ladies' events, and I think the one thing that I think is good about them is that it's like a really soft entry for women who are new to poker, and it gives them this kind of safe space to kind of play if they're new, and that's why I think it's good. But besides that, like I think it's a little bit insulting to like assume that we need to compete against segregated player pools and stuff. And even like the female player of the year and all those kind of things, I think is a touch insulting and like silly, but like I don't think it's awful. So
I don't mind it, only because for a few reasons, but one of them is that it's only one tournament, so people can just like get over it. There's like 1,000 tournaments you could play that year. The other thing though is that if you're a guy, you will experience what the women are experiencing for one day almost every time you play poker. You go sit at a table and it's mostly dudes who are going to relate to you pretty well, and you're going to feel comfortable. You don't feel people like looking at you and being like, oh, that person's really different. So it's just giving like a woman the chance to feel like that, where you're just like, okay, the thing about me here isn't that I'm female, like everyone is. So like, let's talk about other stuff, or like, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
What do you guys think of you think for sure, like, I wonder what percentage of our experiences with comments are different because of that. Like, you know, like.
Well, the motivation, I can speak for myself to say that the motivation for my first vlogs was that throughout my poker career, like everyone always said like, oh, she sucks dicks for stakes, or she does this, she does that. And so I was just like, oh, I'm going to like lean into that and just make fun of it, because like that's what everyone assumes. And there are a lot of girls, frankly, who do that, but obviously.
What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking? Like, there's times when I'm just like, what are you talking about? When you were like, women are so much more emotional and whatever, and just the sweeping generalizations where I know I've been in poker for like 5 times as long, and I might know 1 or 2 women that are like doing that. And then there's a ton more that get accused of it, where they are just dating the guy that they like, but they're like, oh, you're dating that guy because he gives you these nightstand buy-ins, and it's like, come on.
I think the majority, I'm not saying most people do. I'm saying some people do. I'm sure some people do. And there's also like guys that will date a woman because she has money. I think that's like the vast minority of people though, like who actually will do that. Agreed. And agreed. But like, I think I'd be remiss if I said that it doesn't happen.
Right. It's more genuine of a discussion if you acknowledge that sometimes it is happening. Maybe not as much as like we think. I don't know. But I don't know. I have no idea. But I would suck dick for steaks if I enjoyed it. Honestly, like if I could.
You got to get good at it too. That's the thing, that you're just not thinking about that. Like if you're not very good at it, even if you enjoy it, like you're just gonna have to be recreational. It takes a while to go pro.
Yeah.
I pirated never mind. I was gonna say I pirated the this is such a stretch of a joke that's not even worth repeating, but I pirated the dick sucking Pio solver, and it gave me bootleg Sims as revenge. You know that's what happens if you pirate Pio, that it gives you busted Sims slightly. And you'll never know if you're just being taught horrible stuff. Yeah. It's such a good warning, even if it's not true. And I've always been afraid of that when I've punted stuff. Like I've always been afraid of it. Not that I pirated it, but
that's amazing.
We interrupt this podcast with an important message from our sponsors at Run It Once. Run It Once Poker is happy to announce that weekly leaderboards are back. From now until July 26th, we're hosting 7 leaderboards broken down by stake, in which the top 3 grinders of each stake will win massive cash rewards. And if you don't make it into the top 3, don't worry. We've also added an extra leaderboard booster that every single player is eligible for. All players will earn an extra cash prize based on their weekly leaderboard points. The more points you earn, the higher your reward. For full details, head on over to once.run/leadboost. And As always, if you're looking to improve your poker game, be sure to check out Run It Once Training, where membership gives you access to the largest library of high-quality poker training content on the web, with over 5,000 videos from a stable of some of the biggest names in the industry, including Run It Once founder Phil Galfond. Sign up now through once.run/learn, and you'll get free access to 3 of their elite-level videos. And now, let's get back to the pod.
Yo. So wait, so do you think that we like what are women? What are men? What is this? What's going on?
No, I mean, I was just saying, like, you know, I think that women do have it tougher, for sure, in the comments and otherwise, myself included. And that was a big motivation for myself in my early vlogs. And some people didn't understand that, but whatever. But, you know, the problem is I also think that we have a net positive advantage in poker. So we get invited to games. People want to play with us. You know, if given the opportunity to buy action of a winning female or a winning guy, people will often choose the woman because, you know, a lot of guys would rather deal with a woman, right? So, like, there's a lot of positives to being a woman in poker as well. And that's why even Jamie, like, I feel like I need to say these things because, like, I don't want to sit here and just be like, we're the victim. Oh, we have it so hard, because that's not really true.
You generalize a lot, though, and this is where, like, I want you to realize that you're generalizing. You're a very pretty young female poker player, and when you say women in poker, I think you're thinking of, like, you, because that's your experience. But when we talk about women in poker, I'm like, 98% of women in poker are different than you, and so there are women who get all of the shitty parts, which is like extra criticism, called a bunch of gendered crappy names, or called a bitch when they like raise people, whatever, all the bad stuff, but without the opportunities and without the like, oh, a guy trying to stake you because he thinks you're cute, things like that. So I just think like that's the one time when I just want to like step in on like the generalizations where it's like you really just have your one life experience. It's like LOL sample size.
I know a lot of female poker players. It's, you know, I know dozens and dozens of female poker players, not just myself, but I agree. Like, you know, there are women who get the short end of the stick with the positives and they still get all the negatives. Yeah. But going back to what you said, Ryan, I think, you know, I think that it's just inherently, whenever you're in the public eye in any space, as a woman, you're going to be criticized for how you look. So that's kind of
the most annoying. It's like, no matter what, even if, I feel like we should do an experiment where we just make a vlog together where we just say horrible shit. We offend every person and just say terrible things and our viewpoints are awful. The comments will still be like, Jamie's a little bit fat, or like, oh my God, Marley's skin looks, you know, like it won't even be about like, wow, they said we should just nuke the planet or whatever. It'll still be about our looks.
I was just watching, like, ready for the podcast to be torn apart. Like you guys, like battling, like, with that, but
we battle. Yeah. No, but
it's good to battle once in a while. And it's good. Sure. Like, I don't think people
I love talking about stuff like all this.
Yeah. And like, it's hard to see things from another perspective when you're living your poker life and you see things one way or the other or whatever. I'm probably wrong about like thinking not that many people are trading sex for buy-ins, right? I'm like, I have my own little bubble where I'm like, come on, like everybody's acting respectively. And there's not anything wrong with that. I'm like, I think sex work is fine. So I'm not even judging that. I just think that like, thinking it's more prevalent than it really is like bad for women in poker, because then a woman will be at a 10K final table and people will be like, she probably sucked dick for this buy-in, when like most likely not.
Yeah, I guess a better route to sorry, go ahead, Marle.
No, and go. Yeah.
Like in anything, I think when there's like overgeneralization, I think it's bad to like overcorrect, though, would be the only thing I'd say, is that it's like not acknowledging that something happens a little bit in because it's a bad thing for people to be exaggerating is more harmful than good. You know what I mean? It's like you can battle it by other ways that take longer time than whatever. Like honestly, I would like I don't think any guy, if they like could enjoy or even just not mind sucking a dick, might do it some percentage. The same percentage of guys would do it as girls, right? So whatever percentage that is, 2, 5, I don't know. So, you know, I would dabble. Again, I might, well, out of whatever.
This is why you have a million fans. This is why. Because you're just like, listen, I would dabble, all right? I'm not saying I'm going to do it for a living, but I would dabble if I had to.
To get me going. You know what I mean? I don't want to play micro stakes, like just to get started.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to your YouTube comments and your fans, you have like a rabid fan base.
I heard you with Jeff Platt. Like that made me excited. Like last week, it was super cool to see. And I almost felt bad. I was like watching his stream while being deep in the 3200 the other night, and everyone being like, "What's up with RDP? What is he in a hand? Is he in a hand?" I was like, "Guys, don't tell them." Like I felt like a little like hee. But it's awesome. I think people. Well, I don't really have a theory. I was gonna be like, "Oh, I think people connect with me because of this, but I don't really know the answer other than that maybe in the fuck what I'm gonna say, but
I'll tell you what I think, because I wasn't like, I don't consume a ton of poker content anymore just because my life
sucks. It all sucks.
And my life would just be so like one-dimensional if I played poker, commentated poker, studied poker, and then I'm like, I have a free hour, let's watch poker vlogs, like kill myself, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't consume a ton. I just like watched a little of your stuff, but getting to know you right now, like you are very funny in that like you are constantly judging the things as you're saying them. I could see the regret washing over your face as you're saying the thing, but you still say it. Like you have a new fan. I think that's so funny. And like so many people try to put on this like fake bullshit facade to try to get people to like them. And I don't think you do that. And so I think that makes you like accessible to most people, that they find it funny that they're like, oh yeah, I know this feeling where I'm about to say this awful thing. And it's like, oh, it's out there.
Well, I was going to ask you, so you said most content sucks. Why does it suck? What do you think is missing from most poker content?
Well, I think it sucks if you're able to play poker, right? Like I'm friends with like Brett Owen and he helped me. Well, not friends. We know each other and texted it, like Andrew Nemi or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think that the big value, even Jeff Boski, he's legit my friend. They're like just like acquaintances who have been very helpful to me whenever. Is that the big value in those, I think, is like living vicariously through someone for people who aren't able to play a lot. Honestly, mm-hmm. I don't think that a lot of people watch it. Like you said, Jamie, you are always about poker. You're not going to use your free time. You're less likely to watch poker vlogs. So I think that it's a different point of view for us or for me or people who are able to play than like somebody who's married and has kids and doesn't have time to go play a live tournament, that they get to sweat like Jeff Boski living in Vegas, going to the Wynn and mm-hmm. playing this event, you know? And so in that way, I think it's unfair for me to say it sucks, but the thought experiment of like Phil Ivey sitting there watching a cash game hand recap of a 1-2 is funny. Like there's no value in entertainment in that for somebody who's actually able to play. There's value in that for people who are not. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're pretty accessible in the fact that like you were working a job last year and you're like a normal person. As far as like on paper, like, hey, I made my money. Yeah. I was like, I have to add this caveat here. No, but you were doing some normal stuff, you know, and like for a lot of people, they won't relate to me as much. I'm like, I've been trying to make it in poker in different ways for like so long that I don't have that like connection to the real world as much anymore. I used to. So like you are living the dream for a lot of people. Like someone's in a job where they're like, yeah, I do it for money. I don't really like love doing this. I'm starting to play a little bit of poker, and they get to watch you just like crush it in a year. Like last year you crushed it. That final table is huge. That's like a massive score. And they get to see that and then see you live it, and you don't hide anything. So you're actually like very emotional on all your stuff, and like you screaming, I'm a god in the Whole Foods parking lot at 6 a.m. and people's being like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, that's awesome for people to see. And I think the more polished people who are like going after these sponsorships are a lot stuffier, and they don't actually show you like their heart on their sleeve the way that you do. I think that like yours is more compelling for that reason.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that there should, just if I'm like stepping back and looking at poker as a whole, not that that's my goal or anything, is that there should be, it's good for the game if there's more characters, but either way, my favorite like clip of any poker hand is Tony G just screaming in the guy's face. Like, you know, it's just like so rude. It's such a dick. And he's just like, ah! like, is this how you play? How you call with King Jack? Don't cheat for, don't give him any applause. He doesn't deserve any applause. Like it's I love the like passion. The flip side of that is that, like, you know, a Sunday when I lose way more than I should for my bankroll and then like slam my calculator on the floor, and my girlfriend's like, what the fuck are you doing? Play lower. Like, she even knows it. She doesn't know anything. She calls clubs Clover sometimes still, and she's like, yo, chill out. You're firing your head if you care that much.
That's great.
What was I going to say? Oh, so what do you do for study? Do you besides using your pirated Pio?
I have people, well, many people, as I think many people in the poker world, as you get to know more people, have people you can like bounce things off or review stuff. But like with Coach, with like this dude, Chris, who's a friend of mine, or now Rob, go through tournaments I played online, a hand review, or fans of my Twitch who are actually good. I've had to, chat pros who are actually chat pros who just like appear once and then disappear and then email me and they're like, yo, you're totally punting here or whatever. Talking with people, I think, is probably, besides running sims, which I only do once in a while. Like, I don't study nearly as much as I just choose to click buttons that I'm not entitled to click. It's like,
yeah. So what else? What's your plans coming up? You gonna fly every event?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to, but well, in part because I'm 5th on the leaderboard right now, and it's fun. It's the world. It feels like the World Series now this week. Like with, I mean, it's easy for me to say I want a fucking bracelet, but I think that even before then, like the poker world, like coming around, like Jeff Platt stream, like and watching the final tables being streamed or whatever, and then my story, and then the old guy winning, and then even Joe McKeon, people know, casual fans know him, so it feels more connected now or whatever.
Yeah, we've been really lucky with the deep runs. Like, it's such a good thing for poker when name personalities go deep or win, and we've had so much of that, and it's so great. I mean, that's pretty rare in the real live events. Usually it's just kind of randoms. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's nice there's new personalities coming out too, though. That's something that's, I'm like happy you exist, which, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that because I didn't say it to other guests.
It's okay.
I'm happy all our guests exist. No, but I'm happy you exist in this space because it's been like talked about ad nauseum how like the old poker pros, like the old school pros, are just famous forever, regardless of what they've turned into and what they do now. It's just because they're on TV at the right time. And we've been saying that new characters are needed so much in this space. And a lot of the new people are very respectable people. Like I respect all the guys that are crushing 100K buy-ins and stuff, but we don't have like the new school, like crazy guy. And I feel like you're going to fill that role very nicely. Like a Tony G, or like someone who's capable of creating like a television moment that goes viral that's like hilarious instead of obnoxious. Like, I feel like you toe that line really well with like being funny enough to be able to say some out of line shit instead of some people who blow up are just hateful. And I'm like, we don't need that. I don't want to watch people like berating some guy in his face and making him cry on TV, but like having a little bit of excitement and a little bit of out of line celebration is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree, like in the big picture, and I hope I told the line well. That's a big compliment. Also, telling me you're glad I exist I'm very flattered. Thank you.
We can wrap it up here in a few minutes, but I just wanted to ask you, how did poker come into your life in the first place? I don't even know. So you just played casually and then decided I'm gonna make a vlog?
Yeah, well, I didn't even start out as a poker vlog. I was just like, I always knew that like I could like do any job as long as I had something creative on the side, similar to how we were talking about doing poker and having something else going on the side earlier in the show. That I was like, okay, I can work in the box office in this great job that I'm very lucky to have, but I also want to be doing something on the side. So I started making YouTube videos, throwing stuff up and seeing what stuck. And then I realized there's this whole world of gambling content. And then I realized there's this whole world of poker content, both of which I was doing anyway. So I was like, okay, let me make videos about this for now. And then it was sort of like, okay, if I'm going to be doing this a little bit more, let me suck less and less as I am going to be playing more and more. They just went hand in hand, but it was, I was a casual poker player, and I still, like I said, I'm reluctant to even call myself professional, even though stats say, haters want to say I'm pro, but I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying.
No, it's nice when everything goes like hand in hand, because Marle and I have talked about this a lot, that once you start feeling like sometimes the passion of actually just playing poker kind of dies a little bit, or it necessarily has to. Like you're a psychopath. You can just study every day and love it every day for like 15 years. Some people can, but very rarely. But then you'll find something else related to poker where you're like, oh, I want to crush this one thing. And getting better at poker will help me with this. Like for me, it's commentary. For Marle, it was like streaming and blogging and stuff. For you, like every deep run you make makes your content better. So if you study poker and have more deep runs, you'll be screaming at the top of your lungs in more Whole Foods parking lots, and your content will be better. So does that factor in at all, that you're like, you don't want to call yourself a pro poker player, but really, like, do you feel inspired to study more now that you can just make a lot of cool shit off of a big run?
Yeah, for sure. Even this, like I have this thing, like this Borgata trophy. That is so cool to have. That like it was only $8,000 to score, but I won this trophy, and it's so sick. Even once they banned me, I had this trophy happily displayed. But as I was winning that, I was thinking like, yo, this is so good for the channel. Like I was thinking more about the channel than the win in the moment then. And even though that was like a lot of money for me then, and the trophy was awesome, I was like, yo, this is so exciting. So for sure, I think about that. But what's funny about the parking lot win is that I was just doing it, as I said before, I was just doing it. And then the morning I Googled myself, and it was like, Depaulo wins bracelet in parking lot. I was like, oh, that's really on brand. That's really funny. Like, I did not think at all of this. I thought for a while, like, how absurd it was that I was like making this deep run in a horrible setting. But I didn't like comprehend like how silly or on brand or whatever it is,
Yeah, I feel like if you put more thought into it, it would have been like a dollar store parking lot. Like you fucked up a little bit.
For sure. There's a Massage Envy right next door. Like I would like it was a strip mall, and I could have pulled up in front of anything if I knew Whole Foods would be the meme.
Yeah. Whole Foods is a little bit like
fancy.
Yeah.
It's not befitting of like a degenerate who's peeing in bottles and stuff and eating disgusting Burger King.
What did you do once you won? Like, what was your morning like? I was dying to know what do you do from like 6 a.m. till whenever you were able to fall asleep?
Yeah, I filmed a little bit of this for the vlog, but I basically just like sat there for like a while on the phone and called some people who were calling me, and then drove home to Manhattan. Couldn't find parking because COVID, no one's pulling out of their spots. Was like, why am I not going to a garage? Literally for like half an hour. Went on Instagram Live, just like talked to people. Came home, was hoping my girlfriend wasn't awake yet. It was like 9 a.m. by this point or something. Tried to tell her like, oh, I stone bubbled. I didn't cash for anything. She didn't believe me because she had woke up and she's like, I was so confused. I saw your tweet that you were like 24 left, calling it maybe a sweat, but I thought that counts as a sweat. I don't know. And then we had plans to go back out to Jersey because I had this rental car to go to some lake or something and go to Marshall's. That was our plan that day. I was going to take off that day and go to the Ramapo and Marshall's. And I was like, oh, just go now. We got to go before I crash. Let's go. So we went to Marshall's, and then sure enough there, I was like, yo, I'm fading. And I went to sleep at like 5 o'clock for 2 hours and then went back to an Airbnb. Max late reg. I couldn't deposit. I almost couldn't play the next day because I had no more deposit left on any of my payment methods, and they hadn't put in the $159K in my account yet. And so I had to make a Pay Plus account, whatever the hell that is. I'm probably paying 75 cents a month for the rest of my life just to get $1,500 on there to play the next night's event. And luckily I cashed the 2 nights after.
Dude, I've been there before. I've been there where I'm like, shit, I've cashed for enough where it's taxable and you got to wait for money to be put in. And then I'm just like at 7-Eleven with like a $500 pay near me feeling like such a fucking D-chat. I'm like, damn it. And I'm like, oh God, and the tournament tonight is $700. I'm going to have to run this up. I'm playing like 50 cents a dollar.
Oh, good. I'm glad that someone like
I have been there. Yeah, that's great though. And then I guess one last question. You made a run in the 3200 high roller as well. Is that something you would have even played, or is that just you are on a heater and you're gonna ride this?
Well, I was not gonna play it, and I sold maybe 50% of myself or something, which is still irresponsible for for me to be blasting 1500s or 1600s. But no, I was gonna take both of those days off originally, not play the 1500 or the 3200, both of which I made deep runs. So yeah, no, I'm gonna try to play every event now because it's. If right now 5th place in the leaderboard is 5K. So even if I'm like a little bit, I don't know. I don't even think I'm drawing dead in the remaining events. I don't think any of them are as big as the 3200.
No, you're not drawing dead. 500s and there's like a 777 in 2 days. Like they're all reasonable and they're gonna draw a pretty big field of like there'll be it hasn't been as easy as I thought it was gonna be. I feel like as I'm getting deeper into tournaments, I'm like, oh shit, I know a lot of these screen names. There's not as many like randoms popping up, but there still are some. I think it totally makes sense, obviously because of the leaderboard and like potential money there, but also you talk a lot of shit on your poker game for someone who's winning a lot. Like just, I don't know. You don't have to classify yourself as a pro to be like massively plus EV in these bracelet events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess the thing is, it's like a game of golf where I am so capable of degenning it off, where you can just have like birdie par, and then you just think this is a good bluff spot, and then you just totally like ask people later, and they're like, that was a punt. So that feels worse, or like it feels like you're more capable of hitting one of your own landmines than you are, perhaps, or it's like a series of not fucking up, even though there's some good stuff in there. So I guess, yeah, I'm definitely of the two types of people who are like overconfident poker players who think they know everything and like not. I'm definitely more overly to the not side of it. But I think it's just because I see so many people, like, I guess, overly confident in what they're doing, perhaps,
That's
or
great.
I know
You're
I
gonna
could
save
blow
your
it.
money then. I think a lot of people.
You would think I'd save my money, but I don't.
You blew it all at Marshall's. You went for $100K. You bought the whole store.
I know. It's like, this is where we're going.
150 can go a long way in Marshall's for sure.
Yeah, you could buy like a franchise.
And hey, you're gonna save like 60% on your rent when you move to New Jersey too. So
That's true. I've lived in Hoboken and in Jersey City, and it's fun. I think it's actually like so underrated. Like I lived in the city also, and the busyness of it and the finding parking was like constant everyday just struggles. Moving over to the other side, I still went to the city a lot and played a lot of underground games and stuff like that and loved it. But I think Jersey City is actually a sweet place. And it was like 30% of the rent of New York.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's going to be a house, though, because I need a room to stream because it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anybody who ever watches my stream knows my girlfriend will be asleep. I have, like, a pre-recorded message where it's like, you're watching Ryan Depaulo, Degenerate Gambler. He's not full cuck, but half. His girlfriend is sleeping, who he loves. She's in her bubble. Like, it's New York City is not – well, but and like I said, it's only now that I don't need to commute to any job. So – or I do. It's in Jersey, if ever, like this shit,
Right.
or the WSOP.
Yeah.
I have a few good friends still in New York, and they said that there's like a mass amount of people just leaving right now, and it's really just totally emptying. And hopefully, people are going to be starting to work remote more and more. So
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
hopefully, the prices do go down for rent and stuff afterwards.
Before we wrap up, let's give us like one fortune cookie worth of advice for the people who are playing out the rest of the WSOP series.
I know enough people in the poker world now that I want to choose whether or not I'm going to give real advice or angle everybody into bad advice.
Mm-hmm.
Make it ambiguous.
Fuck. Okay. Make yourself uncomfortable. I don't know what that means. That's just so vague and ambiguous. Like, Jesus Christ. Make yourself
Fortune
uncomfortable.
cookies are like that too. People will take it, they'll open the cookie and be like, oh my God, this just speaks to my soul.
Right. It's like, what? Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, fortunately, yeah. If you want it, try. That's
You want it, try. And what'd you say? What was the other one?
Make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. I don't even remember my own godly words of wisdom. I just
I'd
spew
agree
them.
with that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, climb that leaderboard. I hope you win. You'd be
Thanks.
a great new like breath of fresh air in the poker world. And it's awesome to have someone making content out of their runs as well, because I can live vicariously through you while I lose every dollar I own.
Well, thanks. Thank you for having me on, guys. It's fun.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
Peace, guys. All right.
Bye, guys.